Hey everybody, what's up? You're tuned into another Non-Bae Says with your host with the most, your favorite Non-Bae, PG Giovanni, aka PG-13, aka PG-13. And today we have another interesting topic at hand for you folks. Thank you for tuning in once again, and I hope you guys are entertained and excited by what's coming up in this episode. Have you ever wondered how things may have turned out if you made a different choice at particular moments in time? Even if it was ever so much the slightest difference in that choice? Well, today we're going to be talking about the butterfly effect. So what the butterfly effect is in chaos theory is the phenom whereby a minute localized change in a complex system can have large effects elsewhere. Alright, I got that definition from Google. You can go and Google it yourself or look up in a dictionary if you want to, but simply saying or simply putting the butterfly effect is the smallest change could have the biggest possible outcome later down the line in the future or in the timeline of the world, whatever way you want to look at it. Alright, so the term butterfly effect was coined by the meteorologist Edward Lorenz, who discovered in the 1960s that tiny butterfly scale changes to the starting point of his computer weather models resulted in anything from sunny skies to violent storms, with no way to predict in advance what the outcome might be. So you might hear somebody talking about the butterfly effect in terms of if a butterfly flaps its wings over an ocean one too many times, that might result in a possible hurricane later down the line, a few days or a few weeks later. If the butterfly doesn't flap its wings so many times, it wouldn't result in a massive storm. That could be tragic. That could have a bunch of snowball effects resulting in a bunch of different things happening. Unfortunately, we know that with some hurricanes, death is a result. A lot of massive damage and collateral damage happens too. So yeah, the butterfly effect just basically speaking towards the smallest thing happening with the biggest effect possibly being an outcome. There's a saying that always goes, trouble is easy to find or trouble is easy to get into but hard to get out of and stuff like that. So that could be like a version of the butterfly effect too. But yeah, the butterfly effect, I really like the butterfly effect as a concept. I actually really believe in the butterfly effect and multiverse theory, which we'll get into later down in the episode. And I feel like in this universe, there's cause and effect, and that's a part of the butterfly effect also. Even though you might be thinking that you're doing the smallest things or the little smallest details of your day or your life may not matter, that they actually do matter. The smallest decisions that you make, you might think like, oh, it's a small little decision, but you never know what effect that might have literally down the line, or how it might result in other people's lives being affected by you making certain decisions and choices throughout your normal routine day. Like, no matter how routine your day might seem, you might think that, oh, I do this each and every day, this ain't any different from what I did yesterday, this is a typical day in my life or whatever. But little do you know, or little do you might know, is that these decisions are actually making differences in the way that our lives turn out, in the way that our lives are predicted, the way that our lives, roll out after we make these decisions. So some examples of the butterfly effect can range from the simplest to the most outrageous thing, just like the concept itself. Where one example could be like, depending on which cereal you choose to eat in the morning may affect the entire turnout of your day. Let's say you decide to eat Apple Jacks, and later on in the day, a certain thing happens. Whereas if you decided to eat Fruit Loops instead in the morning, your whole entire day might have turned out entirely different just because you made that one simple choice in the morning to eat a different cereal. And as funny and trivial as that might sound, it's kind of true, honestly. Like, really think back to some decisions or some forks in your life where you had to make a decision or where you had to do something and you decided to do something a certain way rather than doing it another way. Which problems you could have avoided, or how better the situations later down the line turned out because of that decision that you made. Alright, another example of the butterfly effect could be leaving home a minute late may help you avoid a fatal traffic accident that you might have been in had you have left home 1 minute earlier. Maybe you had to turn back because you forgot I don't know, your wallet, or you was just looking for your keys, you didn't know where you placed your keys, or you had to clean up some water that you may have spilled. I don't know, whatever minute detail that you spent at home that caused you to stay 1 minute later than your original departure time may have literally saved you going past a traffic accident on the road. You see a car flipped over or something, and you might actually see the accident happen physically, or you might just be passing on the road. And when you really think about it, that could have been you. You know, maybe it might not have been you. Maybe you might have not. It might have not been a fatal accident, or something else particular on the road or in that day may have been a result of you leaving just that slight minute earlier, something that may not happen. You know, some people could call it spirituality, saying like, you know, that's whatever God that they worship looking out for them, you know, and that could be the case also, you know, or it could just be just vibes from the universe. Some people look at it that way. Whatever your analogy is based on, it all comes to a common result of this theory, this great theory that we think about called the butterfly effect. Another example could be your choice in clothing may affect who you marry down the line. You know, that might be a part of your personality, the way that you dress, the things that you are interested in buying, and the way that you present and carry yourself. I mean, that's more of a more practical, spot on, in your face example of the butterfly effect, because I mean, certain people would be attracted to, you know, certain clothing styles or certain dress styles, and then they might just show interest in you and might approach you, or vice versa. But also, it just could be like it's forming on a more psychological side or physiological side. It just might be forming a mindset. You know, it might be getting your mind developed, or a trait specific thing that's like, you know, this is how I like to dress and stuff like that. Anyway, it kind of rambling on about that, but yeah, the butterfly effect, it goes in relation to the multiverse theory. And if you ever heard about the multiverse theory, what that is the multiverse theory is a hypothetical group of universes or multiple universes, where it's saying that because you might have made this decision, then an entire universe might exist because of this decision that you make. Whereas if you made another decision, then an entire whole universe or line of events may exist because of that decision. Together, these universe compromises everything that exists: the entirety of space, time, matter, energy, information, and the physical laws of constants that describe them, really. So you see like a lot of these AAA studios, these massive film studios and video games and shows having like multiverse canonical theories and multiverse canonical timelines happening now. Whereas if, let's just say, this superhero survived maybe a fatal accident, or he survived in a battle against the enemy and he didn't die, then this thing happened. Or if this superhero might have died, then the world turned out a whole different way. Or if somebody was elected to be president or prime minister or whatever may have you, world leader, that the world may have turned out different in that way. Or if somebody just wasn't physically present to do the physical things that we know them to love and be, that the entire landscape or the entire map out of the world might be a whole different world because of that. And going back to the cereal theory, once again, you choose to eat Apple Jacks in the morning instead of the Fruit Loops, and the whole timeline might turn into a big desolate Mad Max post-dystopia future. Whereas if you decided to eat Fruit Loops, maybe it'll be a lush tropical land and everybody prospers and has $1 million a year in their bank account, or what have you. It's ridiculous. I know it sounds ridiculous, but it's a real thing that people believe in and people tend to get behind. You know, and I know I might sound ridiculous talking about it, saying that I believe in it, but I believe that there is some truth to skewed timelines or different timelines, especially in terms of the multiverse theory in relation to the butterfly effect that happen. You know, you've seen like films like Back to the Future and stuff talk about it. Futurama, I think, made an episode about that too. Futurama is a good example of basically multiverse theory and butterfly effects and stuff like that. You saw Family Guy, they made a joke about it too and stuff like that, and a lot of people talk about it. There's even a film called The Butterfly Effect. Spoiler alert, I haven't watched it. I know that's a very weird spoiler alert. You guys didn't see that coming. Plot twist with spoiler alert. But yeah, I didn't watch The Butterfly Effect. My friend tells me it's a good film and I should go watch it. So maybe I'll take her up on her word about that and go and watch it someday. But I feel like hopefully they depicted the butterfly effect very good in that film. So yeah, the butterfly effect and multiverse theory is definitely a real thing. And although it might seem complex or ridiculous, really think about it. Once again, I implore you to go back and think about a time where you might have made a decision and you might have said, wow, had I not made that decision or decide to go this way or do that or do this in a particular way or meet a particular person even who might have changed your entire life or the way that you outlook on life or, experience a certain scenario, whatever, that things might have been totally different now. And who knows, that might have affected things around you, people around you. You might have not known a certain person by not meeting a different type of person or going to a certain event or liking a certain thing or being crafted by something when you was growing up or molded, But I want to discuss one of the most prominent examples of the butterfly effect in my life. And the funny thing about this scenario is that it's something that didn't even necessarily directly affect me. It directly affected somebody else. That shows you how strong this effect actually is and how real it is. So me, if anybody knows me, in the last few episodes I've been saying these type of things, but if anybody knows me, they know that one of my pastimes and one of my favorite hobbies is roller skating. And in a time when the world was a lot more free and open and we wasn't, under this under this health pandemic, and had to been socially distant and all that stuff, I used to go out and I used to roller skate in a roller skating ring. I was developing my skills and getting better and stuff like that. And I used to visit my friends frequently, sometimes just to check in on them, see how they was doing, hey, you guys doing all right? Yeah, man, you doing good? Yeah. Sit down, shoot the breeze and stuff like that. So one fateful Saturday, routinely I just went there and I was like, hey, what you guys up to? They just like sitting down, chilling. We ain't doing nothing really. I'm kind of bored, just regular old Saturday and stuff like that. So I was like, could I interest you guys in going roller skating with me later on tonight? Because it would be something to do and it looks like we're bored, we ain't have nothing to do, so cheapest we go and do that. So they was like, you know what, yeah, we could do that, let's go out roller skating tonight. So we gathered a whole posse, we all went out there later that night and we went roller skating. So one of my friends in particular, he ended up meeting a lady out there who he seemed like he was interested in, and he went up to her and he told us a story about him going up to her and he's saying, hey, I really like you and I think we can end up being together and stuff like that. He just was bold and straight out with it and he's like, yeah, this is gonna be a thing between us. And she pretty much brushed him off and she was like, there's no way in hell that this is gonna happen or whatever. Apparently he ended up getting her number or some type of contact to message her and go and see her later down the line. And I guess she warmed up to the idea of, going out with him or whatever. And I guess you guys could see where the story may be going. Their relationship bloomed into a very wonderful relationship. And a few years later, they ended up being married. And they are still together to this day, being married for about like 2 years or so now. They going strong. And I feel like because I made the suggestion to go, not saying that I am totally, responsible for them being the right choice or I was matchmaker or anything, but it's a very strong scenario of the butterfly effect where hadn't I have not gone there that day and suggested to go roller skating, or even if I didn't even suggest to go roller skating particularly, and that's because I myself like roller skating, me deciding from when I was a child I liked to roller skate, but I never was good at it. And then when I grew older and I said, hey, let me get back into this hobby again, I might have not even gotten back into that hobby. So you could see how this could snowball and rollerball into a whole lot of different decisions being made, from even a smaller decisions way back when. So had I not been there that day to say, hey, let's go roller skating, they probably might have stayed home, or I could have suggested that let's go and do something else. He might have not met his current wife now, and the good thing about them two is they have a real genuine relationship. Like, I've seen a lot out of marriages, and I mean, kudos and props to those people, and I ain't trying to disrespect them or nothing, but the genuinity of these two marriages, these two people marriage who I've seen their marriage to be very strong and very, very genuine. Like, they give me real hope when it comes to married people. They fit each other to the T. And if any of my other friends who are listening to this episode knows who I mean, and I think you guys kind of know who I mean when I talk about these two people, but yeah, that's a direct reference to the butterfly effect that happens in my life, and it's one of the scenarios that I remember strongly in my mind. I don't even know if they consider, their meeting or me to be a very integral part of their meeting, but I'll give myself a pat on the back and props for it. I feel like my friend who was there that day, he might, when he remembers the entire story about it, he'll definitely look at it and say, oh yeah, definitely thanks to PG that, this has happened. And the thing is, relationships from that marriage there was different relationships that was developed from that marriage. Other people became friends, people became close and stuff like that too. So that's what I'm talking about, where it could just result in so much more other things happening, so much more other things in life happening, so much other relationships and scenarios being established from this one small point in life, or this one small point in time. But anyway, it's just one of the favorite concepts I like, and that was me talking about the butterfly effect and different scenarios that I had with it. Let me know if you have thought about any scenarios about the butterfly effect that happens in your life, and let me know how you feel about them and what was the outcome. Did anything happen that became more worse, or anything got better in your life due to certain decisions and choices that you made? What were the extremes, or what was the small insignificant details about these effects? Let me know. And if you have any ideas on episodes that I should be talking or speaking about later down the line, also let me know about that. But if there's nothing, I would like to say thank you for listening to this episode of Non Bae Says, and I hope you guys have been entertained, maybe educated a little bit, and I hope you guys come back next week to tune in for another very interesting episode of Non Bae Says. So without further ado, I hope you enjoyed the rest of your day. This has been your non-favorite bae signing out. Adieu. Peace.